Are you allowed to bet on fights?
I am not.
You are not allowed to.
I am not allowed to. Now.
When did that happen?
It's a recent rule that came about because apparently there's an allegation that one of the UFC trainers, I want to be real clear about this because I actually like this guy a lot and I think he's a super talented trainer and I do not know if this is true. So I won't even say his name, but one of these trainers was apparently aware of injuries and then informing like a group of people online who are betting. So they're saying like, hey, this guy's got something wrong with him.
Right.
He's not going to win this fight. And then all the money would go on the opponent and then they would rake it in. And this happened allegedly on fighters that he was training or people that he knew.
It's like insider stock trading. It's
similar. Yeah, it's fishy also because it gives the possibility that fights are dives. You know, when a coach is betting against their fighter, like or giving other people information against their fighter, if that happened, I don't know if it happened again. I just want to be real clear. It's allegedly. If that's the case, that's kind of like it's next door neighbor to a dive, and that is the last thing we want in mixed martial arts is fixed fights.
Right.
Which is weird because it's owned by the same people that own WWE now.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy.
They've had a good week.
It's a great week.
Yeah, it's a good week to be in the WWE.
Yo, dude, that Vince McMahon is wild. That boy's out there.
I read this. I couldn't get through the text messages. I started trying to read them, and I was like, I don't want to read. This is like poison.
But the thing is, when I see that dude with his shirt off, he's 80 years old, he's got a chain around his neck. What, are you shocking me with this information?
Yeah.
Don't you think it takes a lot to get that guy going?
No, it's. You're saying he needed to send all those text messages to get aroused at that age?
I think he probably needs a lot just for stimulation. Listen, he's a billionaire.
Right.
He's been running pro wrestling for decades. He's world famous CEO of this giant multinational company, pro wrestling company. He's also in pro wrestling.
Right.
He gets out there and competes. He does it.
Yeah, I guess.
Or, performs, I should say.
At a certain point, I guess, if you're that through the looking glass of reality, like you become a heel in life. Life is heel and everything is a match.
Yeah, if you're going to be really successful at putting together pro wrestling, probably be pro wrestling all day long.
You got to stick with it.
Yeah, like stay in it all day long. Don't go read Nietzsche at the end of the day. Don't be reading Carl Jung's thoughts on flying saucers. Get the out of here. Drink beer and go fuck.
Yeah.
That's what you should be doing. You're on the road. I want you to Ric Flair it until the wheels come off.
They do come off, too.
Well, yeah, on almost all of them.
Yeah.
The only one who hasn't is The Rock.
Right.
The Rock is in remarkably great condition, obviously huge and massive and muscles and everything, but mobile. He can do things. Like we worked out together.
That's interesting. I wonder because he also seems like kind of the most. He's one of those dudes who's got like what you're talking about, genius level. He could have been anything.
Sure.
He's kind of got one of those mega IQs, feeling like.
Well, he's got a mega discipline. Is what he has.
Right.
And if he applied that to intellectual endeavors, he would be a mega genius. It's like I think we want to think that they're not connected. But I think they are. And I think like a Michael Jordan or someone who gets that good at basketball could get that good at anything. It's just they don't apply themselves in that area because I think it's just exceptional people.
Well, you know, there's that weird idea, and apparently this is proven, that the difference between a world championship runner and the number 5 is like less than a second. Their speed, right? I mean, the difference between the Olympian and the guy that doesn't make the podium is it's just infinitesimally small. And then the reason that the person wins is because they believe. It's not even a physiological thing. It's like a confidence thing. And
unless you're running against Usain Bolt.
Right. We'll take him out. We'll take him out.
What you believe. Because then there's genetics. Genetics are real too.
Well, genetics is probably, I would guess, is what gets you to the stage in the first place. It gets you on the track.
It exists intellectually too. There's boundaries. I have limitations. I have like certain limitations intellectually. At a certain level, I just check out.
Sure.
I'm not going to but I am friends with some insanely brilliant people that scare the shit out of you. Like if I talk to Eric Weinstein, I'm like, "What are we even the same thing?"
Right.
Like what are we? We're not we're barely the same thing.
You know when you really see that kind of genius is when they start talking to you in a way you'll understand. You go, "Oh, so you wrote that book that I can't even comprehend, but you're also conversationally able to
Eric
help
doesn't
me."
even try. He doesn't even try with that.
He leaves you behind.
He does sometimes. I try to tell him, like, you got to help us out here.